Okay, good day, good afternoon, good morning, anytime you are watching this. Welcome back to welcome for your first time to the BuildHub YouTube channel, specifically electronics and logic, specifically Python. Welcome back to our logic aspect. So this is Python class 2, and today we'll be going over input, string methods rather, concatenation and f strings, integers with arithmetic operations and PEMDAS, and just a basic overview of those two simple data types and how to take user input. Okay, so firstly, to kick off the class, what is input? You take your phone, you go to your search engine of choice. Mine is Google, or you go to your browser of choice, which is mine is also Chrome. You type in something, you hit go, it goes to your search engine of choice, and it brings you back response, right? So that thing you did where you put text into that box and you pressed go. The process of putting that text into that box, that query, is called input. You are giving the browser your input. You are giving your search engine an input, and the search engine is producing a result, which is an output for you. So input is basically getting something from a user on the highest level. However, we are devs, we are backend devs, right? So we don't have the luxury of a search box, but we do have the simplicity of a command line. So everything we are doing is in the command line interface, in the terminal. So that's where we would be doing inputs, but more on that later. Okay, so but firstly, how do we structure inputs? Inputs in Python are done with the input keyword. So whatever is within the input keyword, or whatever follows the input keyword or is wrapped around the input keyword, is called an input statement. So how do we structure our input statement? Our input statement is with the input keyword, then parentheses. Whatever is placed within the parentheses, within quotes, because it's a string, right? It's a string of text because it's text we want to display. Whatever is placed within parentheses within this input keyword in quotes is what will be displayed in the command line when we're collecting our input. Okay, so let's say, what if I want to ask exactly, what is your name? It's as simple as that. And if we run this, what do we have? Exactly, in the command line we have what is your name. I can now tell it, oh, my name is Toby, and that's all. Our program is run. Well, believe it or not, we have collected inputs, but there's a key issue here. We're not doing anything with the inputs. To do something with the inputs, we have to have it past running it, because the inputs we just gave, right, once we ran the program and the program was over, it's done. It doesn't have anything to do with it again. Okay, but we could actually store this input. How would we store it? We'd store it using something we covered in the last class, a variable. So in Python, you could also assign your input as a value to a variable. So in the last class, I told you think of variables as containers. Now I'm telling you to think of variables as labels. Think of variables simply as wrappers you can wrap around something, okay? Just that you want to store it. You can't just store things anyhow they are. You would have to find a way to wrap it or package it to keep it suitable or preservable for storing, just like you would think of food, because that's always the first place my mind goes to, food. So just think of it like that in terms of food. So we could call this inputs name input, or just a name variable, and then assign it to that, and it's as simple as that. Then we can start doing things with this. So after this, we could simply print name input, again something we covered in the last class, and then you would notice that after we run this, if I say my name is Toby, it displays my name, Toby, in the terminal. We just created a form program to collect the user's name and print it. It's as simple as that. So this is basically an overview of inputs. You could also do the input thing without the text. The text is optional. It would still run the same if you didn't give it text. It would still run the same. So the text again is optional. It will still run the same. So if you run it, you would just not know when to type, but it would still run the exact same way. It just helps to be more descriptive. Yeah. Now let's go into strings, and I'll come back to this in a second. Because there's something else I would like to show you, a neat trick for that. So let's go to, but basically that's a basic overview of the input statement. It's as simple as that. It's basically done when we want to get input from the user. So let's go into strings. Excuse me. Now, as we recall from our last class, strings are basically text. Okay, they are basically sequence of ASCII characters. Let's get a little bit professional in this and call them ASCII characters. They're basically just texts, strings. So strings as a data type have, or rather all data types in Python have what we call methods. Methods are simply things you can do to members of that data type. So if a value, whether it be a variable or just a single letter or just a string of text in quotation marks, if it satisfies, if it's a member of that data type, you can perform that string method on it. It's something that you can do to it. So I do not know a few off the top of my head. Admittedly, it's been long I actually worked with them, but one very nice one, although we can test it out. Let's create a string. Let's create a name string. Name is equal to, if we're going too far there, name is equal to Toby. So let's see what we can do on name. Firstly, if you hover over name, it shows that it's a variable literal. So we can say name dot and see what that gives us. Okay. Now, dot is simply what we do to access the string method. So everything you see on my screen here are simply the methods you can execute on it. So let's just scroll down a bit and look at it. Now I would explain the one I can, but let's just go to the, this is a lot of them. These ones with 2 underscores are called dunder methods. You won't be needing them for now anyways. That's when we get into classes. But just to go up, upper is to turn everything into uppercase. We'll try the ones I can remember. Translate is to translate giving a translation table. I've actually never worked with this, but it looks good. Title is to return a version of each of that string where every letter is title case. Swap case is return, what's it called again, a version of that string where instead of your uppercase being uppercase, now your uppercase is lowercase, your lowercase is uppercase. Strip is to return a copy of that string without white space. That means something that would have space. But enough talk. Let's walk through. Let me show you how they work in practice. So the ones I remember, or the ones I usually use anyways, is name.upper and lower. So usually a string method is a function. Okay, a function. Now we have not entered functions, but just know you have to have these parentheses at the end. That's what characterizes a function. Just know that these have to be at the end. So name.upper. Now let's see what this will do. Let's just print that. So I'll just take you through 5 select string methods. So if we were to run this, what do we have? Beautiful. We have capitalized TOBI. So it converts everything to capital letter. It converts everything to uppercase. Same thing, or rather the opposite to a lower. If we run this, converts everything to lowercase. And let's say we had a lot of space in front of it. If we wanted to remove all of that, or rather trim that, we would use .strip. And if we run that, beautiful, all the white space is gone. So that's actually something very, very useful, something you could use. Let's say if you are trying to take input from username and the person mistakenly puts space there, and you don't need that. So Yeah, that's very helpful. But basically, string methods are very powerful ways to work with strings. Again, to use a method of any data type, that thing you are using the method on has to be of that data type. So that's just an example. Just again, let me give you a look-see at all the possible methods that we have. There are so many, and I couldn't go through all of them even if I tried to. So it's left for you to just go and explore. But they are very, very useful, I'm sure. But you won't be using more than 6 or 7 of these from practice. Okay, so let's move into concatenation, and I just realized I spelled that wrong. Why didn't anybody tell me? This is concatenation. Okay, concatenation and f strings. Okay, concatenation is simply adding. Adding, not in the sense of numbers, because we are dealing with strings here. Okay, strings are not numbers, you can't add them together, that doesn't make sense. Concatenation is when you have a string, right, and you want to join it with another string, then you concatenate them. How do you do that? Let's make two variables. String 1 is equal to, or rather, yes, let's make two real life variables. First name is equal to Toby. Sorry, I like using my name, it can't be helped. Adeyemi, that's a great last name. So last name is equal to Adeyemi. What if we wanted our first name and our last name? Let's create a variable full name to have this. Now, how would we combine these two instead of just typing them out? I mean, you already have two variables holding your first name and last name. It's redundant to type it out. You would simply just concatenate them. Okay, that would be first name plus last name. It's as simple as that. You have concatenated them using plus. So keep in mind, plus is used to concatenate strings. Here you are not adding them in the classical sense, you are literally just joining them together. Now let's look at what the output will be, and it might shock you. So if we print full name, let's see what we have. Toby Adeyemi, but everything is joined together. So what can we do about that? Here's what we can do. We can be cheeky about it, and remember, you can also concatenate strings. Remember, you are not concatenating the variable, you are concatenating the value of the variable, which is a string. So that means we can also concatenate strings that are not within a variable. Okay, we can also concatenate strings in line without them having to be represented by a variable. So what we can do is, a smart trick is just carry an empty string with space in between two of them and just concatenate all three of them together. So if you run that, now we have something cleaner. Toby Adeyemi separated. Okay, it's as simple as that. That's basically what concatenation is. So concatenation can let you do all sorts of fun stuff, like if we were to integrate it with our first program, right, we could literally just take user input and say input, enter your first name, last name will be input, enter your last name, and we're set. We have a fully working program to do that for us. And if we save that and we run that in the terminal, we have enter your first name. Let me use something different, Joshua, and we have enter your last name, Mackenzie, just a weird name, and it gives you your full name. A perfectly working program, all in Python, within 4 lines, removing the comments. It's as simple as that. So that's concatenation for you.